Hello and welcome. Today, we are going to explore a fundamental and fascinating concept in electrical circuits called resonance, with a special focus on series resonance. Let's start with the big picture. What is resonance? In the context of electronics, resonance occurs in a circuit that contains both an inductor, which is a coil of wire, and a capacitor. These two components have opposite effects on alternating current. Resonance is the specific condition where these opposing effects cancel each other out. As our diagram shows, this can happen in either a series circuit or a parallel circuit. The key outcome of resonance is that the supply voltage and the supply current become perfectly aligned. We say they are in phase. Imagine two people walking, and their feet hit the ground at the exact same time with every step. That's what in phase means for voltage and current. When voltage and current are in phase, the circuit behaves in a very special way. It leads to something called a unity power factor. Let's break that down. Here we see a graph with two waves. The vertical axis represents the magnitude of voltage and current, which we call V and I. The horizontal axis represents time, or the angle of the wave, going from 0 to pi to 2 pi, which is one full cycle. The blue wave represents the voltage, and the yellow wave represents the current. Notice how both waves start at 0, rise to a peak together, cross the zero line together, and hit their negative peak together. They are perfectly synchronized. This is what we mean by in phase. The phase difference between them, represented by the Greek letter phi, is 0. So, we write phi equals 0. Now, what is the power factor? The power factor is a measure of how effectively electrical power is being used in a circuit. It's calculated as the cosine of that phase angle, phi. So, the power factor is equal to cos phi. Since phi is 0 at resonance, we calculate the cosine of 0, which is equal to 1. When the power factor is 1, we call it a unity power factor. This is the ideal situation. It means all the power being supplied to the circuit is being used to do useful work. At resonance, the circuit acts as if it were a purely resistive circuit, meaning the inductor and capacitor's effects have completely vanished from the perspective of the power source. There are two main types of resonance we study. First, series resonance. And second, parallel resonance. In this video, we will be focusing entirely on the first type, series resonance. Let's look at the circuit diagram for a series RLC circuit. RLC simply stands for resistor, inductor, and capacitor. In a series circuit, these components are connected one after another in a single loop. We have an alternating current, or AC, voltage source, labeled V. This source pushes current, labeled I, through the circuit. The current first flows through a resistor, R. The voltage across the resistor is given by Ohm's law, V or equals I times R. Next, the current flows through an inductor, L. The inductor creates an opposition to the change in current, and this opposition is called inductive reactance, labeled X with a subscript L. The voltage across the inductor is VL equals I times XL. Finally, the current flows through a capacitor, C. The capacitor also opposes the flow of AC current, and its opposition is called capacitive reactance, labeled X with a subscript C. The voltage across that capacitor is VC equals I times XC. For this entire series RLC circuit, the total opposition to current flow is not just the sum of R, XL, and XC. This total opposition is called impedance, and we represent it with the letter Z. The impedance Z can be written in rectangular form as Z equals or plus J times the quantity, XL minus XC. Here, J is the imaginary unit used in electrical engineering to signify a 90-degree phase shift. The important part is the term, XL minus XC. This shows that the inductive reactance and capacitive reactance directly oppose each other. To find the total magnitude of the impedance, we use a formula that looks like the Pythagorean theorem, Z equals the square root of R squared plus the quantity, XL minus XC, squared. Now, let's look at what XL and XC actually are. Inductive reactance, XL, is equal to omega times L, where omega is the angular frequency and L is the inductance. Since omega is equal to 2 times pi times the frequency f, we can also write XL equals 2 pi FL. Capacitive reactance, XC, is equal to 1 divided by omega times C, where C is the capacitance. We can also write this as XC equals 1 divided by 2 pi FC. Substituting these into our impedance formula, we get Z equals the square root of R squared plus the quantity, 2 pi FL minus 1 over 2 pi FC squared. Let's see how these reactances change with frequency. First, let's graph the inductive reactance, XL, versus frequency, F. The formula is XL equals 2 pi FL. This means XL is directly proportional to the frequency, F. As the frequency increases, the inductive reactance increases linearly. The graph is a straight line starting from the origin and going up. Next, let's graph the capacitive reactance, XC, versus frequency, F. The formula is XC equals 1 over 2 pi FC. This means XC is inversely proportional to the frequency, F. As the frequency increases, the capacitive reactance decreases. The graph is a curve that starts high at low frequencies and drops down, getting closer and closer to zero as the frequency gets very high. Now, let's put both of these graphs on the same set of axes. The vertical axis represents both XL and XC, and the horizontal axis is frequency. We see the straight line for XL going up, and the curve for XC coming down. There is a special point where these two lines cross. At this specific frequency, the value of the inductive reactance, XL, is exactly equal to the value of the capacitive reactance, XC. This is the point of resonance. The frequency at which this happens is called the resonant frequency, which we label as F with a subscript R. At this resonant frequency, something remarkable happens. Because XL equals XC, their effects cancel each other out. This leads to minimum impedance and, as a result, maximum current. Let's go back to our impedance formula, Z equals the square root of R squared plus XL minus XC squared. At resonance, since XL equals XC, the term XL minus XC becomes 0. So, the formula simplifies to Z equals the square root of R squared plus 0 squared. This just becomes Z equals the square root of R squared, which is simply Z equals R. This is the key takeaway. At the resonant frequency, the total impedance of the circuit is at its absolute minimum, and it is equal to just the resistance, R. So, how do we calculate this special resonant frequency? The condition for resonance in an RLC series circuit is that the inductive reactance must equal the capacitive reactance. So, we set XL equal to XC. We substitute their formulas, omega L equals 1 over omega C. Now, we solve for the frequency. Let's rearrange the equation. We can multiply both sides by omega and divide both sides by L. This gives us omega squared equals 1 over L times C. To find omega, we take the square root of both sides. This gives us omega equals 1 over the square root of LC. This is the angular resonant frequency, measured in radians per second. Since we know that omega equals 2 pi f, we can substitute that in 2 pi fl equals 1 over 2 pi fc. Let's solve this for the frequency, f. We multiply both sides by f, which gives us f squared on the left. We divide both sides by 2 pi l. This gives us f squared equals 1 over 4 times pi squared times l times c. Now, we take the square root of both sides to find f. This gives us the final formula for the resonant frequency, fr. Fr equals 1 divided by 2 pi times the square root of Lc. The unit for this frequency is Hertz. This formula tells us that the resonant frequency of a series RLC circuit depends only on the values of the inductor, L, and the capacitor, C. Let's summarize these results with a few more graphs. First, a graph of impedance, Z, versus frequency, F. At very low frequencies, the capacitive reactance is very high, so the impedance is high. At very high frequencies, the inductive reactance is very high, so the impedance is high. But right at the resonant frequency, Fr, the reactances cancel, and the impedance drops to its minimum possible value, which is just the resistance, R. The graph looks like a valley, or a U shape, with the bottom of the valley at Fr. Next, let's look at the graph of current, I, versus frequency, F. According to Ohm's law, current is voltage divided by impedance, I equals V/Z. Since current and impedance are inversely related, the graph for current will be the exact opposite of the impedance graph. Where impedance is at its minimum, the current will be at its maximum. So, at the resonant frequency, Fr, the current reaches its peak value. This maximum current is equal to the supply voltage V divided by the resistance R. The graph looks like a hill or a bell curve, with the peak right at Fr. Now, let's look at the power factor, which is cos phi, versus frequency. At the resonant frequency, Fr, the circuit is purely resistive. This means the phase angle, phi, is 0. The cosine of 0 is 1. So, at Fr, the power factor is at its maximum value of 1. To the left of resonance, at lower frequencies, the circuit is capacitive because Xc is greater than XL. The phase angle, phi, is negative, between 0 and minus 90 degrees. To the right of resonance, at higher frequencies, the circuit is inductive because XL is greater than Xc. The phase angle, phi, is positive, between 0 and plus 90 degrees. The graph of cos phi looks similar to the current graph, a bell shape peaking at 1 at the resonant frequency. Finally, let's look at the phase angle, phi, itself versus frequency. The vertical axis is phi, going from minus 90 degrees to plus 90 degrees. The horizontal axis is frequency. At very low frequencies, the circuit is strongly capacitive, so the phase angle is close to minus 90 degrees. This means the current leads the voltage. As the frequency increases and approaches the resonant frequency, Fr, the phase angle rises from minus 90 towards 0. Exactly at the resonant frequency, Fr, the circuit is purely resistive, and the phase angle is exactly 0. Voltage and current are in phase. As the frequency increases past resonance, the circuit becomes inductive. The phase angle becomes positive and rises from 0 towards plus 90 degrees. At very high frequencies, the circuit is strongly inductive, and the phase angle approaches plus 90 degrees. This means the current lags behind the voltage. And that is a complete breakdown of series resonance. To summarize, it is a special condition in a series RLC circuit that occurs at a specific frequency, the resonant frequency. At this frequency, the opposing effects of the inductor and capacitor cancel out, leading to minimum impedance, maximum current, and a perfect unity power factor, where the circuit behaves as if it were purely resistive.